What is up, everybody? This is Keith Jameson. I go back Get a Guy 231 across the DFS industry, and the smile on my face is because after months, the EPL is back on Saturday, and not just the EPL is back, but we've got like real classic soccer slates back. No more of this staggered starts, and I got to use my utility here, and I don't want to lock in this guy because what if this guy starts later? That's gone. We got 5 games all at the same time. You know, English Premier League is awesome in the fact that all the lineups drop 1 hour beforehand. So we got 1 hour to pick through 10 full teams. I'm going to do my best to give you guys a preview today of what lineups might look like, who your set takers are likely to be, you know, who has floors, who doesn't. It's going to be fun. I am so excited to be back with you all for the entire year. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content. Just a quick reminder about what I'm going to be covering. I am covering from an optimal / cash lens. So pretty much in my world of building soccer lineups, with the exception of getting like a minus 1,000 favorite. So like every PSG game this season, right? So if you're playing interleague, you know, you just got to learn to just stack Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. That's going to be like the ticket to printing an interleague. We don't have that in Premier League more often than not. Some city slates might be there. You know, when Chelsea gets Lukaku, we might see some, but we don't really get many minus 1,000 favorite types all that often. We don't have it on this first slate. So if goals don't exist or if goals don't happen, how are we going to lock in the maximum amount of points to build up a floor to get us into the cash line? That's what I'm going to be working on. If you're interested in the GPP takes, looking for upside, Alex Hooper of Tilt City fame is going to be back all season with his Golazo video. So make sure you check that out. Probably be up, I think, Friday morning. Don't hold me to it, but Alex will definitely have that. So we'll have 2 bits of content all season on the FSI channel. And if you want to make sure that you get it, here comes the hook, right? Like, subscribe, comment. The biggest thing to make sure you get the videos is subscribe, get those alerts set up, but really appreciate the like and comment. It helps make sure that this video does well with the YouTube algorithms, has more people see it, which helps us continue to have this channel grow and give you guys this free content. If you're interested in beyond just free content and want some premium subscription, we have awesome soccer subscriptions up. We cover every slate, so every showdown, every Liga MX game, MLS, EPL, all of that is all in one. It's an awesome Discord channel. I very much suggest you try it out. There's day-long packages just to try it out. Saturdays, it's a steal. You get like 30 slate coverages, it feels like. So check that out. All right, enough sales, enough plugs, enough previews. Let's just get into the football. So I want to start out with odds so that we kind of know where we're looking, where we're at, for our targets. So we're just going to go top to bottom. Everton hosting Southampton. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Look, I try to blow it up and I screw stuff up. Let me see if I can get this a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, so we got Everton hosting Southampton. Southampton, likely without James Ward-Prowse. Danny Ings has moved on to Villa, so Southampton is a weakened side. I'm going to bring that up because I really do think Everton is a really sneaky team with so many people headed towards Chelsea that Everton could sneak up on some people, especially at home. Everton minus 106, 2.5 total. Chelsea, the biggest favorite on the slate. Chelsea just played in the Super Cup today, won in PKs. They're minus 358, 2.75 total. Romelu Lukaku is not a Chelsea member yet. That is a huge deal because we know from last season, even in these spots, Chelsea's biggest issue was finishing. So I think a lot of people are going to stack up Chelsea. I'm going to be looking at Chelsea floors, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Watford, newly promoted Watford at home to the Grealish list, Cavs list, whatever else you want to say. Villa, you got Villa as a slight road favorite, plus 137, 2.5 total. I really think you got juice on the under. I really think that might fall to 2. I'm not going to talk a ton about that game at all, but it's just worth noting in case I forget later. Watford to end the season in the championship was outstanding after the coaching change. And they were outstanding not because they were like fun for DFS. Defensively, I think they allowed, I want to say it was like 14 or 15 goals, final 20 games. Their XG was super low. They're just playing really, really tight. So yeah, I'm pretty off that game, which I don't know if that'll be a hot take or not. Burnley and Brighton. Burnley at home at Turf Moor plus 218. Brighton plus 158. That's a 2 total. I actually have some interest in that game because we have some good DFS players, but not for goals, for floor. And then finally, the last game of the slate, all at once. So it's not like any sort of like time thing like last season, but Leicester minus 138, hosting a very new look Wolves. We got no Pedro Neto. We got no Nuno. Maybe we have some Raul. We'll see. But Leicester is a solid favorite, minus 138, 2.5 total. So you notice no 3 totals, no 4 totals. We got low scoring games. EPL, not a super, super high scoring league. So again, that strategy of building floors, it does work. It's fun, but it does work. So I'm going to go over to RotoWire. Free lineups on RotoWire is great friends of us at FSI. Andrew Laird, who heads up RotoWire Soccer, amazing guy and does awesome work on the site. So I thank them because a lot of other sites didn't have any predicted lineups out. So it'll help me navigate here. So I'll just give RotoWire a quick plug. I'm not solicited by them or anything, but so many amazing stats on RotoWire that you can subscribe to. I don't even know what it is a month. It's like nothing. You get access to all sorts of stats, all sorts of filters, stuff that you could go out in public and get for free, but they put it together in a much easier way to do it. So if you're really getting into soccer, definitely recommend a RotoWire subscription, whether you pair it with FSI or not, or just, use that on your own, watch these videos, watch their video, and then go and print on Saturday. All right, the first game, I'm just gonna go in order here. Burnley at Brighton. We noticed that was a pretty square game, the lowest total, but as I mentioned, some good DFS options. So we're really going to be talking about set pieces. Again, if you're new to soccer, set pieces are really important. Set pieces are free kicks and corner kicks. They're so important because 90% of set pieces in like the attacking third, so corners or free kicks just outside the box, are going to result in a cross into the box. In Draftkings, that's 0.7. If that 0.7 connects to a player that takes a shot, that is 1.7. Now, if that player that got, was on the end of the cross and takes the shot and scores the goal, that is an assist. So now we got 7.7 points in one play. So yeah, I hope that shows you the value of set pieces and why I like them so much. It is the most predictable way to get points in DraftKings soccer. So our set pieces for Burnley are Ashley Westwood and Dwight McNeil. That is not going to change. Burnley just has not changed much at all since last year. Dwight McNeil is the more advantageous player. He's out wide. He crosses the ball a ton in open play and on set pieces, and he happens to be forward eligible. So I really like Dwight McNeil as a floor play. I think he'll be fairly popular, as you go up higher in stakes, versus at lower in stakes. I think a lot of people are just going to stack Chelsea up. Ashley Westwood, a little less valuable because he is very, very set dependent, does not do a lot of like crossing in open play because he is more central. Outside of that, Burnley, I can't imagine playing anybody else. Nick Pope, always a great call. Chris Wood, YOLO GPP goals, Vadira, YOLO GPP goals, anybody else on a 5-game slate in a cash build. Remember, I'm talking cash. Do not take anything I'm saying out. You see me with one of these guys in GPP, don't go, hey, you said don't play them. GPP and cash are 2 different things. I will not have anybody in cash for Burnley not named Dwight McNeil. I cannot imagine anybody else making, or Nick Pope. Only 2 guys that are in my cash pool. All right, Brighton. Should be really interesting. So at the end of the season, Pascal Gross was pretty much a lock and load, almost on a monopoly of set pieces. But Solly March was out. When Solly March was in, Solly March and Pascal Gross often split sets. And then you'd even have Lucas Trossard, every once in a while jump in. So I think Brighton sets are a little bit messier. That said, we've got Pascal Gross under 7,000 as forward eligible and a plus matchup versus Burnley, who we know gives up a lot of crosses and a lot of set pieces. So I think Pascal Gross is really nice. I also really like Solly March. They're playing a back 3. Solly March is going to be playing a left wing back. So a very, very natural spot to just cross the ball. And if he gets sets as 2, I think you are in a really good position to get a nice score. He's only 5,900, I believe. Give me a minute. Yeah, 5,900. You see that average last year, 11.11 DK points floor for 5,900 is a really nice score. So I think Solly March, really interesting midfield play. GPP, Trossard, Conley, Malpoy, sure. But, GPP. This is the lowest scoring game. So it's not like, you're targeting these guys because you think this is going to be an offensive outburst. It's low ownership leverage. All right, jump to the next game. Chelsea at Crystal Palace at Chelsea. First off, Crystal Palace sets are a mess. I would guess it's IU based on this lineup, but I would guess if you play anybody from Crystal Palace, you've made a mistake, in my opinion. Chelsea is a great defensive team. They're a huge favorite. They're at home. I want nothing to do with Palace. So I'm just crossing Palace off. Chelsea, despite them being a great team, they are just god-awful for DFS. So let's just kind of break this down. I think so many people are going to want to go ahead and just click Mason Mount in your lineup. He's the most expensive midfielder. He's 9,000. He's had great floors throughout, but he gets great floor when he's on set pieces. Towards the end of the season and in the Super Cup, 2 days, Wednesday, he didn't take set pieces. Freaking Marcus Alonso was taking corners over Mason Mount when he came in. Reece James and Ben Chilwell took corners at the end of the season and in the Champions League final over Mason Mount. Mason Mount then goes to the England team and takes almost everything, even when Reece James was on. So I truly don't know the sets, but I do know this: at 9,000, if Mason Mount doesn't have sets, I am possibly in trouble because I need a goal or assist, or he's, potentially going to struggle to get double digits. And if I'm spending 9,000, if I'm foregoing a James Maddison, if I'm foregoing, a Solly March, some of these forward plays, Pascal Gross, I really want to have sets. So Mason Mount, I think and just how you deal with Chelsea, I think is going to decide the slate in so many ways. I think the way I want to approach it is maybe the wingbacks. We saw over and over again, Reece James was very much in Thomas Tuchel's, vision as a guy to take set pieces. We saw Callum Hudson-Odoi play right wing back today in the Super Cup and take set pieces. And then on the other side, it was Marcus Alonso. There's a really good chance that Ben Chilwell and Reece James take a lot of set pieces. And even if they don't, they are live for a clean sheet and they're live to have some open play value. So I think Reece James, Ben Chilwell, and Mason Mount are my favorite cash plays from Chelsea, with a slight lean. Defense is loaded. I'm going to just bring that up now. I think you probably want to get one of those guys. I like them both. I was about to say I think I prefer Chilwell, and then I was like, maybe I prefer Reece James. I don't know. I like them both. But I think in cash I'm really leaning towards like potentially my utility spot being a defender. I just think they're underpriced given their floors, and obviously if they get I almost use a silver term. I was gonna say if they get a decisive, but if they get an assist or a goal, obviously Yahtzee, you're in great shape. Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, obviously elite GPP plays. I don't think that they're elite GPP plays for ownership, but for upside, of course, as postal minus 400 favorite at home. I think that they have great chance to score, but Chelsea's going to Chelsea. This could easily be like a 1-0 type of game. And in a 1-0 type of game, if it's like an 85th minute goal, my God, those wing backs and even Mason Mount they're on set, they're just going to absolutely blow up. Mendy, I think, will be one of the most popular goalkeepers. I didn't have a lot of trouble spinning up at goalkeeper when I was making holders. Spinning up a goalkeeper to me is fool's gold sometimes, right? It looks like he's the safest, but sometimes the guy that's the safest is going to see the least amount of shots. So he doesn't get a ton of upside and saves. And if he does concede one, you're drawing to, if it's a 1-1 game, Mendy gets one save, that's 0. And, you spend 5,900 for that. So, but obviously if it's 1-0, he gets one save, that's 12 DK and you scored a goal for 5,900. So that's cool. Goalie's a tilt. So it's whatever. PKs for Chelsea are Jorginho. So if you really want to get low, if you just go like, people are going to stack Chelsea up and they're going to do like Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, they're the wingbacks, Mason Mount. Maybe do 1-0 Jorginho PK, pair with Mendy and moving on. All right. Everton Southampton. I told you Everton, it's sneaky. So it's really funny. When I first opened the slate, I didn't even think about James Rodriguez because he's been the entire summer being told that, oh dear God. Oh, Rafa Benitez doesn't have him in his plans. Yet here we are, 3 days from lock, 2 days from the season, whatever the days it is. And James Rodriguez is still on Everton. He started in their last friendly. I don't think there's a reason to believe that James Rodriguez is not going to start. He's underpriced. He should have a share set pieces. He is by far the best player on the pitch on either side. and he's forward eligible. So I think he's probably one of my favorite plays as long as he starts. Just James Rodriguez has shown when he starts and he's on the pitch, he's going to be productive. This doesn't matter when he was at Bayern, when he's at Real Madrid, when he's been at Everton. When he's on the pitch, he produces. So at sub 8K, I love him. Lucas Dean, it's a great play at defender. I told you, I like James. I like Chilwell, love Dean. And then I'm also going to bring up here in a minute Ryan Bertrand. You got 4 elite defenders. You know, a lot of people are only use 2. I might use 3 in cash. Outside of that, I think everybody else is like GPP. It'll be interesting. I don't think Andros Townsend will have a share of set pieces. I do think it'll be Lucas Dean and James Rodriguez, but, you know, I guess watch out. Andros Townsend could. You know, he certainly can take it. He also does plenty of open play value. So, like, if you use him as a forward, I don't think you're crazy. Then, you know, it'll be interesting, you know, if Richarlison's back. I haven't done a lot of, like, newspaper reading. You know, we'll get pressers on Friday. But if he's back, he had a busy summer with Copa America for Brazil and then Brazil in the Olympics. He might not be ready. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays. Because if he does play, I think he's either in over Iwobi or over Townsend. Calvert-Lewin should lead the line. He's goal or bust. Southampton. So the last things, James Ward-Prowse, I've read is very questionable. I just, you know, the Roto-Rider clipping on DraftKings. So that's my reading. But if he does not go, I think Southampton's in trouble. My guess is based on this lineup, sets would probably be either Nathan Redmond or Stuart Armstrong or some sort of split. Reality, there's nobody in the Southampton lineup I want to target. Stuart Armstrong, I think, is okay in the middle. Redmond is okay, you know, especially okay if he gets sets. But just with so much uncertainty, you know, losing their 2 best players, I just don't want any piece of this. Perrod, just for the record, a guy they got from Ligue 1. He's a good player. They paid a lot of money for him. They paid $13 million. They let Ryan Bertrand go, so they like him a lot. He has some good numbers in Ligue 1. I just don't think that this is the time to try it out with how stacked defender is. But, you know, if you got there, I don't even know what his price is. Let's see. Perrod. Probably said his name wrong. 5,100. No thanks. I was gonna say he's like 3,200. Maybe that was worth a try, but not at 5,100. All right. Leicester versus Wolves. I really like Leicester here. They just beat City in the Community Shield. They get Harvey Barnes back, who's an electric left winger. You know, it'll be interesting to see if they give Daka, their new striker from Red Bull Salzburg, a run here. I also think it would be really interesting. Like, I don't know. I'm not the craziest Ayoze Perez fan. I think after the end of the season to not start Nacho would be really, really shocking to me, especially in this game, but it'll be interesting how they go. Here's the crazy thing about Leicester. So end of season, James Maddison. So the entire season, right? James Maddison's like DFS darling, takes 100% of set pieces. He walks on the pitch. You automatically have 10 points in your pocket. He gets back from injury. Yuri Tielemans have been taking sets with Maddison off. Yuri Tielemans, when Maddison comes back on, stays on sets. So Tielemans was becoming, especially at price gap, was still the better play. Maddison would still do, you know, 6, 7, 8 DK, but without a goal or assist. That's where he was going because he didn't have sets. So now you go, okay, so maybe was that injury? Was that, you know, some sort of load maintenance? Who knows? But we get to the Community Shield, and you're like, okay, maybe it's Maddison. Maybe it's Tielemans. No, and no. Ryan Bertrand on all the set pieces for Leicester. So that was 1 week ago. I don't think there's a reason that we should decipher that was any sort of like psych out or anything. I think it's Ryan Bertrand. He's 4,300 playing left back with potentially monopoly set pieces. Like, to me, that's just a lock and load. So Ryan Bertrand at 4,300. I would never have been expecting to do a season opening EPL preview and saying Ryan Bertrand's a lock. Yeah, here we are. So Ryan Bertrand, I love. James Maddison at 8,000. I think I prefer to save the $1,000 on Mount to go to Madison, but I don't think you're crazy either way. I think that's going to be a decision I'm going to go back and forth on up until lock, because I've played enough with builds that you can easily free up that $1,000 to get to Mount. So as I'm sitting here talking, I'm like questioning what I just put together before I got on this. So Madison and Mount will be close. I think Madison's a great play. Tielemans, I'll be off of based on the recent logs. I think he might get overinflated ownership. And, you know, if he doesn't have sets, he's still going to be a deep lying, you know, he's still a playmaker, but he's going to be deep lying. It's not great for DFS scoring. And, at his price, I think you can pass. Jamie Vardy, is it a Vardy party? Decide and move on. If it's a party, he's always a great play. If it's not, he has no floor. And then Pereira, find a right back. All right, Wolves. My guess, João Moutinho and Francisco Trincao, the Barcelona loanee. I think he's a loanee. It might be like an option to buy. They should likely split. I think Wolves will be interesting. Obviously, it's not Nuno, so we don't exactly know how they're going to play. Here on RotoWire, they have them predicted to still play a back three with Haver and Semedo as the wingbacks. Haver doesn't normally play like a left wing back, so I'm not sure if he was playing there during preseason. I didn't do a ton of Wolves look, but I'm just off of Wolves here. I think Leicester is a good team. Leicester at home is even a better team. And just spending money on Wolves here again. This isn't like a 3-game slate last year where we were handcuffed and we only had a certain amount of options. We have 10 teams, so you do not have to risk things in cash, right? GPP, you probably should be getting exposures everywhere, especially exposures when people like me are saying, I have some doubts. That might be a great idea to go GPP on those guys because they might be lower ownership. But I think in cash, I just think it's crazy. João Moutinho, a boring, 7 to 10 points. But if all of a sudden, if he doesn't have any set pieces, I mean, you're down into like the 2 to 4 floor, and you're like, God, João Moutinho is freaking killing me. And you had so many other choices. So yeah, I think I'm just off the Wolves. Final game, Watford versus Villa. I already mentioned that I'm probably off this game. There are so many unknowns. I know that Watford is a good defense. I know that being said was a championship defense. This is a different animal, but Villa is such a new team. They have not gotten a lot of time together. Look at their attacking. Danny Ings, new. Buendia, new. Leon Bailey, new, right? So 3 of the 4 attackers are new. And then you have El Ghazi over there, who I love Anwar El Ghazi, but I love him especially when he has sets. And I would have to think that if Buendia and Bailey are in, that is the split. So yeah, I don't know. I think Villa is a great GPP team. I think a lot of people are going to be super excited to play them. They're fun. They're exciting. Those are really fun names. Like Emi Buendia absolutely destroyed EPL scoring at Norwich 2 years ago. Was great at Norwich in the championship. I'm sure it probably should translate. Leon Bailey was great in the Bundesliga. A guy that can take sets, take people on. Danny Ings, great goal scorer. El Ghazi, we know how good he is. But how are all those guys going to come together and correlate? I just don't know. So I think they're all like Bailey, Buendia, El Ghazi, all 100% in play in cash. I just don't necessarily know their roles. And so week 1 in a tougher matchup, like I know a lot of people are probably going to say Watford, that's cake. Watford is the most likely team to be relegated according to the bookies. They're supposed to finish 20th. That being said, I think they're a decent defensive team, and I don't necessarily want to go that I'm going to like hang my hat and my couple $100 in cash on Villa with a new team playing a pretty good defensive team. So that's my take. For Watford, their sets probably are some version of Sima, Cleverly, and Louza. That Louza is a transfer from Ligue 1, from Nantes. Good player there. How will he translate to EPL? EPL and Ligue 1 are very, very different leagues, so that'll be interesting. Etobo used to take some sets too. So yeah, I'm just avoiding this game. I think Bachmann, from what I said from a GPP perspective, or if just you want to pay down at goalkeeper, makes a lot of sense. Watford, stadium should be crazy. They're back up in the EPL. So yeah, I think that if you want to go goalie there, that's fine. All right, let's go to the core plays, and then we will get out of here. So I'm taking Madison out. I over-talked myself. So James Rodriguez, to me, as a forward, is close to a lock and load. Ben Chilwell, I've even convinced myself about this. I'm actually going to take Chilwell out. I'm going to say Bertrand is your lock and load at forward. Then at mid, oh God. I think you're going to play at least one of Mount and Madison. I'll just say that now. I'm here bonus content if you're still around. So let's just go here who I think you could play. Buendia, I'm sure people are going to like him. I don't know. I'm very nervous about that play. Madison, I like a lot. Obviously, Mount, I like a lot. Barnes, I like a lot for GPP, probably not for cash. McNeil, here's the craziest thing. You could end up using 3 forward eligible players. You used to always struggle to get forward eligible players. There's a lot of F eligible set taking, open play value guys in the state. Like, so Dwight McNeil, if you play him in midfield spot, not crazy at all. There's Leon Bailey. I'll probably pass this week, but I think I'm going to be playing a ton of him this season. Tielemans pass. Traore, I kind of didn't mention him, but Traore in the season was just outstanding for Wolves. Like, look at the floors. In the season, he was great. So, he's going to find his way to close to double digits from fouls drawn, from crosses, all that good stuff. And he has his boy. I didn't even mention that. He has his boy, Raul Jimenez, back. The two of them were up there, I think, with like KDB and Aguero the year before in terms of the most goal assist combos. There's Pascal Gross. I love that play. Trincao, I don't think it's crazy, but I don't think I'll do that here. El Yonasi at the end, I think, would probably be the most likely Southampton set taker. Solly March, I like a lot. Westwood is boring, but fine. Moutinho, boring, but fine. There's Luza, not yet. I think it's just too early for that. Stuart Armstrong, not crazy. Yeah, I'm just going to say this. I'm only going to give you two. I'm going to I'll round out, give you bonus time to this. I think you're playing Mount, Buendia, or Madison at one of your midfields. And then at the other defender, you're playing one of Dean, whichever, Ben Chilwell or Reece James. Like, I think that's the way you're going to build out. So, and I just can't imagine not having some form of that in a cash lineup. That's probably how I'm going. Wednesday night, a lot could change. But thank you all so much for watching. And then finally, I will be figuring something out. I think this week, since we don't have college football back, I'll probably do a separate show on the channel, only a couple of minutes, with some prize picks. I'm really excited for prize picks to be back for EPL. I've kind of taken a little bit of break during the obscure soccer on prize picks, but I'm excited for EPL to be back. I think there'll be some numbers that we can take advantage of there. So I'll probably do a separate show for that, but just keep in mind, prize picks is another way you can enjoy DFS soccer. On the prop side of things, use promo code FSI. You get $100 or up to $100 matching for your first deposit. So free money to use it. Follow along here. You can also follow me on Twitter at GatorGuy231. I'll probably post some stuff there too. And with that, that'll do it. Thank you all once again so much for watching. This is Keith, aka GatorGuy231. See you.